Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. The time my manager wanted to have a sale on cantaloupes. So when I was heading to college, my dad said, "Listen, I'm paying for your tuition, but I refuse to pay for you to party and binge drink. If you want to do that, you'll need to find a job to support it." I'm now thinking, okay, whatever. I'll find the easiest job possible. So once I get to school, I'm walking down streets just searching for "help wanted" signs, literally anywhere. I stumble across a small, family-owned grocery store. I walk in and was introduced to the manager, John. He was only looking for someone to stock shelves, so I thought this would be the perfect, easiest job for me. He asked if I could start in a couple days, so it worked out well. A few days in, my manager John wanted to have a sale on cantaloupes, so whatever. Didn't think anything of it, but remember the price. 49 cents a piece. During the day of the sale, I was minding my business stocking cereal at the time. It was Kix. While I'm doing my thing, I hear, "Pust. Pust. Hey buddy, hey buddy." I really didn't know it was meant for me until I turned around and asked, "Can I help you, sir?" He said, "Hey, is there any way I can buy half of a cantaloupe?" Quote, "Keep in mind one is for sale at 49 cents in its entirety." Now I'm thinking this guy is a jerk or a cheapskate or both, but since I was so new, I was trying to be polite. So I say, "I'm not sure, sir. Let me go ask my manager." So I'm walking to the back, honestly strutting my stuff, having absolutely no idea this guy is following me. I finally get to the back of the store and yell, "Hey John. Some asshole wants to buy half of a cantaloupe." I wait and hear in a hum, and holy shit, now realize this guy was right behind me. But know what I then said? And this fine gentleman would like to buy the other half. End of story. Next story. I got bullied and ended up being the one in trouble. All names are fake. Some background. Between grades 4 to 6, I had a bully, which I'll call Jared. Apologies to any Jareds out there. He did the typical stuff, calling me names. An example is communist, and spread rumors. I see myself as a person who can ignore mean comments. But some of the stuff he said was beyond disrespectful, and it did get to me. Other than that, he wasn't physical. Until one day. It was the day before winter break. In grade 6. Since I live in the winter wonderland of Canada, it was incredibly icy outside. So Jared and his friend, who I'll call David, apologies to Davids, decided to go on a spree. They had the brilliant idea to trip others. One of them gets behind the victim on all fours while the other distracts, then pushes them, causing them to fall on the ground. Again, it was icy outside, so they could have seriously injured someone, which thankfully they didn't. Anyways, during first recess, they did this technique to me, but failed cause David behind me was too far away. So I didn't fall. I ran away from them and to my older brother, but he told me to simply ignore and avoid them. Come second recess, and David pushed me, causing me to fall. They laughed as Jared got up. Now, I don't advocate violence, but my father always told me that if someone gets physical with you, hit him back. So naturally, I did. I got up and punched Jared in the face, which was quite satisfying. Both glared at me, and seeing as it was a 2v1, I booked it. Luckily I was faster, so what ensued was a 20-minute chase, which involved me hiding behind pine trees. The bell rung, and ignoring a teacher, I ran inside and headed for the principal's office. Grade 7 and 8s go in before everyone else for some reason. So the hallway was packed. As I ran, Jared caught up to me since I was exhausted. He tackled me and we wrestled in the hallway for 30 seconds. Before some students broke it up. Even then, he was kicking my stomach and chest hard. And despite my thick winter coat, it hurt. I went to my locker, took my coat and boots off, and skipping lunch, went to the principal. I told her everything. Me going to my brother, them tripping others and the fight in the hallway. She was skeptical about the hallway fight and she checked the cameras. Since the hallway was packed with tall big kids, the fight wasn't visible, since the camera was in a corner at the end of the hall. She didn't believe me. She called in my brother, who had almost nothing to do with any of this. And he said he told me to ignore the boys. She called in the boys. They obviously denied it. After all that, my brother and I got in trouble and had to sit in an empty classroom, apart from one teacher, for the rest of the 2-hour day. Worst still, this was the day before the winter holiday. So while I was crying my eyes out, Jared and David were in class, goofing around and watching movies. I guess the bright side is that Jared transferred to another school. So I never saw him again. And luckily my brother doesn't seem to hate me for this. But my parents were livid. I try to forget about this since I feel like this is petty. But I get angry every time I remember. Thought I could post it here to get it off my chest. And to see if me punching him in the face was justified. Short version. What does TLDR stand for? I punch bully after he trips me. He beats me up in a hallway. My brother and I get in trouble while said bullies get away without punishment. End of story. Next story. The girl I met in the train. Part 6. Hi friends, hand waving. This the 6th part of the story. So if you haven't read the first parts, please do, so that the story would make sense. You can easily find the previous parts on my profile. Just click on my profile, J0HNWIKK, above the title. I hope you will read them hugging face. I asked my partner on stage to quit joking and give the chart in a funny way. But he moved further away from me. It was like I was asking his oxygen supply on Mars. I wondered what was he even thinking. He was on stage with the chart even before he was asked to. So naturally anyone with a sane mind would think he was there to explain the chart. The priest placed a mic in my hand. Everyone was laughing and having the time of their life. It was pure situational comedy. Adding to that, I didn't even know what was inside the chart and now I have to explain it. All eyes were on me. Lose Yourself by Eminem was playing in my mind. I looked at the chart as he opened it. The chart was about the Holy Spirit. Frankly, I didn't know much about the Holy Spirit. Now you may be thinking it doesn't matter because you have a chart that is explaining what it is. If you ask an 11-year-old to explain what is the periodic table by giving him a periodic table, I don't think the kid would do much good. I knew it was holy and it was a really important person. There was a time limit, so I had to start talking something. I greeted the audience in our mother tongue. The audience really liked that, and your friends will cheer for you no matter what you do. While others didn't speak in the native language, I did. Amazing way to please the crowd. I said my name. I gained confidence and I said I am from the Mother Teresa group. There was a sudden pause. Complete silence. I thought somebody collapsed on the stage. I looked around and there were no casualties. I realized I was the reason for the silence. My partner looked at me like my dad looking at me when I give him the progress card. Disappointed. I looked to the priest, who was holding a mic. He said to me, there are no such groups in this hall. The crowd again burst into laughter. I realized I messed up the name. Even I wanted to laugh. But I was on stage. So I controlled it to a soft smile on my face. I looked at the chart again. But this time a bit more closely. I was in awe. There was a flow chart and a few diagrams. I mean, who draws a flow chart and diagrams on a chart? About the Holy Spirit. If I don't have full knowledge about something, I shouldn't speak about it. I had already learnt that lesson. I decided to talk about prayers and Holy Mass. I asked my best buddy to stand up from his seat. I am pretty sure he cursed me. At first he didn't. Then I pointed at him, called out his name, and I asked him to stand up. He stood up. He had no other choice. I said to everyone that he is my inspiration. I told everyone that academically he is not that good, but nobody prays better than him at church. I kept talking about the fact that the Holy Spirit would be proud of him. The crowd cheered and laughed at everything I said. The only one who was not cheering was my friend I talked about so much. I completed my presentation somehow, and as I was about to leave the stage, the priest stopped me and asked me to never come on stage again. It was quite understandable. I did not disrespect anyone or anything, but I have to say my presentation made no sense. I was greeted with cheers and applause as I walked to my seat. I was not considered as a laughing stock. I was seen as an entertainer. My friend wasn't particularly happy. I could see it from his face. I wanted to pat on his shoulder and say, "Cheer up. You are famous." But I was not a big fan of getting hit on the face. So I didn't. I looked at her. She was smiling. I wanted her to notice me. Mission passed. It's crazy what we do when we are in love. If I wasn't in love, I would never have gotten on that stage. I would have just sit in my chair and did nothing. I didn't try to talk to her. Even in the last day, I realized she was in my town and understood her full name. Sweets were distributed at the end of the day, and she is the one who distributed it in our group. She looked lot more prettier up close. I decided she is the one for me. Now that I found her again. Life is a lot more beautiful when you are in love. Will be continued. This is a true story, so please don't expect something filmy. Cold sweat smile. Thank you for reading. Your feedbacks are valuable. DM or comment. It doesn't matter. Give an upvote if you liked it. I will see you friends soon. Black Heart. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.